I'm standing for Police Fire Crime Commissioner of North Yorkshire as I believe I've got the background and skill sets which can make a real difference for everyone in North Yorkshire. Having had a police background of over 20 years with an exemplary service record where I served in the CID, was a firearms team leader and promoted, to going on to work as a fraud investigator for the Bank of Scotland for 10 years, running retail business, running other businesses successfully. I believe, everything that's needed to represent the people of North Yorkshire and to get the best for them, the police, fire services, and ultimately make North Yorkshire safer even than it is at the moment. I think the role of Police Fire Crime Commissioner in North Yorkshire should be held by somebody who is independent of the political parties. The reason for that is that the whole office of the Police Fire Crime Commissioner has to be non-political, the Chief Executive has to be, and it just seems rather wrong that the person who can head it is nominated and elected from a political party. Independence means that you represent everybody and all views and all sections of society, and that ultimately you're not tempted to toe the party line. If elected Police Fire Crime Commissioner from North Yorkshire, it is important in the first 60 days that I actually look at what the status is of the IT systems, the fleet vehicles, personnel, also speaking with individuals, interested parties, organisations, whatever their interest is for North Yorkshire, the best interest for North Yorkshire. And by getting all that information, I can then put together a plan which I can present to the Chief Constable and Chief Fire Officer and say, this is what the public want, can we deliver on it, can you deliver on it operationally, which is your area and which you are responsible for. It is important that the Police Fire Crime Commissioner of North Yorkshire is seen as the conduit, the bridge, the person between the people, the police and fire services who represent their interests. And at the moment, I think from 2012 when this position was created, and that was the idea of the role for a person who was recognised from the community to carry out this role, not a politician, that the people generally don't understand what the role's about. So it's vital that you have somebody who represents but is also a leader and can get that message across throughout North Yorkshire, working with North Yorkshire County Council, working with your MPs, working at government level to actually raise the profile of this role, make people hopefully see just how important it is, and then that will bring people to be involved in it, all the groups and organisations. And I want to be the person who is in that role so that I can actually show that what a difference compared to what really people have most probably experienced since 2012. My life, my background has been about working and serving the public. I started as a young man in Leeds Kirkgate Market on a fruit and veg stall where you met every character under the sun who would go into the market and serving them with bags of potatoes or a cauliflower that he'd prepared. Going on to join the Leeds City Police in 1973 where I met my wife, as she is now, who was also joined the police service. She later left to have our son, and family events meant that she didn't return to the police. I had a career in the police where I served in various departments, whether it be the task force, whether it be the burglary squad, CID, vice squad, being promoted, a firearms team leader. So really seen many situations, working on major investigations, including the one which was the serial killer Peter Sutcliffe's reign of terror in West Yorkshire. Going on to be promoted, as I said, and also getting commendations from both the Chief Constable, from the Crown Courts, and leaving with an exemplary service record. 10 years working for the Bank of Scotland, which became Halifax Bank of Scotland, fraud investigator, working on budgets and money involving millions of pounds, so used to also dealing at that kind of level, board meeting level, coming into then the family business, which is very well known, the oldest sweet shop in the world at Pateley Bridge in Nidderdale, North Yorkshire. Built it from what was a relatively small sweet shop to a worldwide recognised brand with a mail order business to it, to lots and lots of publicity covered on lots of TV programmes, enabling or giving me the opportunity to present on programmes such as Food on Wrapped on Channel 4, such as Pies and Puds with Paul Hollywood, and lots of TV programmes, gaining experience there. In understanding the importance of media and what media can do, and that applies exactly to the police and fire services. Bringing the media on board can help so much in investigations, in cases, and public support. So altogether, a rounded background, community work, representing voluntarily the Chamber of Trade for Nidderdale, representing as chair the Bloom Group, winning national awards at both of those, going on to be a patron of Dementia Forward, a registered charity based in North Yorkshire, and honoured in 2018 in the Queen's Birthday Honours to have been awarded an MBE. Fantastic life, but the next stage and the next chapter is to make North Yorkshire Police and Fire Services outstanding in every respect, so that everybody from around the country is looking at those forces and North Yorkshire and saying, this is a beacon, it's a shining example of what can be done with passion, determination, and working within the resources that are already there.
Brilliant.
Police officers on the street, in communities, are absolutely essential. Information comes from people talking to the person they come across. It's no use if they don't see somebody to talk to. A lot of those people will never make a phone call, they won't use an online reporting system, and we're losing valuable information because most information comes from the fact that somebody notices something slightly out of place in their community, in their neighbourhood, in an office, in a work area. They see movement of things, and just by speaking to that police officer, that snippet of information can open up a whole case and lead to the detection of a major crime. So it's vital. And I say also the fire service playing a huge role in the community. They're in the community, on-call firefighters particularly, who are on standby in effect, again speaking to people, being able to do things locally in the community, will all build in effect a source of information which is invaluable. We can never have enough police officers in North Yorkshire, but what I can say is that the police officers that we do have, they obviously work very, very hard and they are quite effective. But with anything, you can make things hopefully even more effective. That's good training. It's also like going into a business as a businessman. You look at what can be done and you work things out. You move things around. You make savings from what are possibly unnecessary spending. Everybody recognises some of the wasteful spending, looks and think, why are they spending money on that? And I'm no different. So I need to go in, look at why that money is being spent in a particular way, and without cutting things, because under the Conservatives since 2010 we lost 20,000 police officers, we lost 23,000 support staff for the police, 600 police stations closed around the country. That affected North Yorkshire because they lost police officers, support staff, closed police stations. I have no intention of closing any more police stations. We need more police presence in communities, whether it be the existing police station that's there or opening an office, a temporary area that police go to every week so people know they can go and speak to a police officer. So it's about using the best method for operating the resources being used effectively. And police officers, of course, would like lots and lots more so that we can literally have them walk in the streets wherever you are. But we're not promising, if I'm elected, that I can have somebody in your street every day. But what we can say is that every community should know that there will be a police officer about within a week, within a couple of weeks, and that there's a presence, a visible presence, somebody they can go and speak to, provide information to. And so altogether, yes, we'd love more police and firefighters. The firefighters, of course, very much underfunded in North Yorkshire, and it's down to me, if I'm elected, to present the case why North Yorkshire should get more funding. They shouldn't be the second worst funded force in the service in the country, there should be a case of saying we've got a rural area, we've got a case for this, because why should people in isolated communities be at risk of the fire service through their on-call firefighters not being close to them to save their lives, save the buildings? Not good enough. And I will fight tooth and nail and put the case forward, as I'm experienced at putting cases forward, whether it be as an ex-police officer, as an ex-bank fraud investigator, as an ex-businessman. I've now got rid of all my business interests to show I have no conflict of interest whatsoever. So I will be concentrating on making sure I'm fighting 7 days a week for the police and fire services, and most importantly, for every single person who lives, works or visits North Yorkshire. If elected Police Fire Crime Commissioner from North Yorkshire, the fire service, very much an organisation quite often that seems to be overlooked. To me, it's very important the fire service worked most probably as hard as I can, because the resources, I think quite a lot of them are dated, but I need to look at that if elected. I think that a lot of the equipment needs to be looked at. I think the personnel in relation to certainly the on-call firefighters and their situation needs to be looked at in relation to can we improve it so that we have better retention of on-call firefighters who are vital in communities. I believe I can be the advocate, the counsel, the person who is really going to work with the Chief Fire Officer, work with the firefighters themselves to make sure that they feel that they're actually valued, that they're very much a part of the office of the Police Fire Crime Commissioner. And I have a responsibility there, and I work with those people to bring that off. And certainly the budget, that's down to me to negotiate at a local level, but mainly national level, to show the case of why North Yorkshire is underfunded and why it shouldn't be. It's a ridiculous state of affairs. And let's have it so that a lot of the IT, the stock, fleet, etc. is looked at, and where possible, let's get it brought up to date. Let's get more non-essential vehicles for both the police and the fire service to become electric vehicles when they're not used overnight, can be charged, save money, but also look after our environment and show that we've not just a green county, but we've actually got green credentials.
Yeah.
Road safety and speeding in North Yorkshire is clearly a huge problem in many, many communities. As I've been canvassing, I've been getting a lot of feedback, and I've realised that I need to look into whether there should be fixed speed cameras in certain locations. I think there is a case for it quite clearly. Whilst mobile speed vans are sent quite often to these locations, people become aware of when they're there, limited in terms of the times they can be around because of darkness, etc. Also, people on social media these days tend to tip people off, warn people about these, whereas a fixed speed camera, where it is a particular problem, and I think it's quite identifiable in North Yorkshire where those points are, so it doesn't need dozens and dozens, it's limited most probably down to virtually a handful of locations. Well, surely we can look to get those put in, even if it's on a trial basis, but that's down to me to go to North Yorkshire County Council, put the case, which I know the residents most probably already have and been unsuccessful, or go to government and put that case, because I will fight and work and challenge to get what is best for the people. And that's the difference, I suppose. An independent can bring that to the table. I'm not just going to listen to the rebuffs from either, a Conservative-run council or a Conservative-run government, and if the government changes from a Labour, etc., etc. So it's important that I can do that, and I listen to people. I've listened already, even though I'm canvassing and not elected. If elected, I will meet those people, but I will do something about it. I will, again, be their advocate. I will put their case, and nobody will put it more passionately. And to me, the result is about delivering, not just about the talking. I do lots of talking, I've done lots of meetings, but I also deliver on the ground. And that is success to me, is actually getting what the people want. So we need to look at that. So I'm quite open-minded to say, let me have those meetings with people where they want fixed speed cameras, let me go back and work on their behalf to try and achieve that. Also, North Yorkshire, well known for its cycling, for its motorbikes because of its beautiful scenery, but we've got a road network of over 6,000 miles to cover in North Yorkshire. I want really to increase road traffic policing because I think it's been cut again since 2010 by the Conservatives. We need more chance of people coming across a road traffic car on one of the roads out there in North Yorkshire, so to be more careful. Bike safe schemes to obviously develop those so that there's more bikers understand that, yeah, we want them to enjoy the road network, but they've got to do it safely, proper training, enjoy opening the throttle up when they're in a position to do so on the right roads, to the speed limits, etc. Cyclists, again, a lot of most probably differences between the motorists and the cyclists. We need to try and get the message across that we can live together, we can work together, but at the moment I don't think the message is being put across to either the motorists or the cyclists of what each sees each other being about. And I think that the role of the police fire crime commissioner, if publicly I can work on that, I believe that that message can become a lot clearer. If elected police fire crime commissioner from North Yorkshire, I am aware of the Tri-Service initiative in North Yorkshire. I believe that that needs clearly a review doing to see how successful it is. It clearly works in some areas, but maybe not all areas. I think that the firefighters, subject to working with the firefighters themselves, their union, to look at whether their role can certainly be expanded into the area of the medical side of things, because the public have great trust and great faith in the firefighters in general and are happy to accept them into the homes because they know that they're going to be not like the police in somebody's mind might be looking for, whether they've committed some kind of drug offence or whatever. So there's an element of firefighters, we've got to accept, I think, are very well trusted in communities, and many police are, but there is unfortunately an element of society who will not trust the police for whatever reason. So to involve the firefighters in a medical side of it, I think is something that they most probably would want to embrace, would want to take on, because they do it when they go out to fires and to car accidents, etc. So certainly something that I would want to discuss and have meetings about, and it's got to be bringing people, working with people who want to go on that journey. Domestic abuse undoubtedly is going to have increased during lockdown. People have been in situations where it's been very tense, a lot of anxiety. We know from what's been happening, that we read about, that there's going to be a huge increase, and I think as time goes on there's more and more cases going to unfold, unfortunately. North Yorkshire Police have started receiving some money from government to try and address this, but I think the important thing is that if I'm elected, I will review how the police are operating in terms of who they've got dealing with these situations, because it's very important that we've got specialist officers, people who are trained to deal with the poor victims of these crimes, and also to look at working with all the partner agencies to be prepared for what could be virtually an avalanche of cases coming forward. If elected, a priority and a main one is going to be that every complaint and every crime will matter. And what I mean by that is people expect to be listened to. If people have had a crime perpetrated against them, they expect somebody to investigate it. They expect somebody to check up and see if there's further information come from either the police side or from their side, so that everybody's confident that the best has been done. And sometimes crimes develop, so it's important also that in the early stages the police are aware. So every crime, every complaint will matter if I am elected Police, Fire and Crime Commissioner of North Yorkshire.